Good morning, and good morning to everybody. Welcome to my channel called Crime Uncovered. I'm going to launch straight into chapter 6. It's called A 17-Year-Old Daughter. This case happened when I was about 3 years into polygraphing, and it was such a hectic case. It has such a hectic ending, and this case has definitely stayed with me. Some cases do stay with me, and this is one of them. As usual, I will launch straight into it. So, Chapter 6, Part 1. I was finding conducting polygraph tests stimulating, and even though I worked in various offices, boardrooms, storerooms, warehouses, wine cellars, and once even outside, at that time a table and 2 chairs were brought to me, and they gave me an extension cable for my laptop. It was nice not to be stuck in an office all day. Being my own boss often meant I had time to do my shopping during the week, or have a pedicure without needing to make an appointment. This is important for women, I think. When I had been in the field for about 3 years, I signed up with UNISA to complete a degree in criminology. From the start, I was utterly enthralled at what I learned. And at the time of writing this, and even making this video, I have yet to finish this degree. I see I'm on the edge of the camera. Let me move over. I learned about the causes of crime, crime prevention, youth misbehavior, which was fascinating, and of course employee crime particularly held my interest. I was also very interested in the little bit of criminal psychology presented to us in some modules. I obtained quite a number of confessions in my work and had deduced that I had to meet someone at whatever point they were at in their lives in order to be successful in this regard. If they hated their job, then I agreed that to be working for a boss was a hard thing to do. If they were a single mother, then I acknowledged how disempowered they felt now that their ex-partner had left them. If I was dealing with a person who had witnessed the suffering of those close to him because of apartheid, so I'm talking about anybody that is not pixeled the same as me, I completely understood. My studies gave me great insight into why crime in the workplace occurred, and I used this knowledge to my advantage. My gut feeling was constantly being honed, and I would instinctively know when a particular employee was guilty of an issue at hand. On the occasions that I did obtain a confession, I would often post my achievement on Facebook without ever mentioning the company's name or any employees' names. I always tell my clients, I'll never talk about your case. I'll just write a book about it. Got another confession I would write for the world to see. Love my job, I would add. Wallet, though wet, was returned safely to owner. Amongst other things, I had recovered a stolen wallet from a toilet cistern taken by the manager's own secretary, and on another occasion, a pair of Jimmy Choo shoes stolen by a cleaner at a wedding. I was at the venue within 2 hours of that theft, and the festivities were still ongoing. The camera footage had been viewed by the manager on site, and only 2 employees had been near the shoes. I addressed both of those employees at the same time, explaining the procedure, and while one seemed calm, even if a bit anxious, the other one gave me nervous glances, and her question is polygraph legal in South Africa? Made me realize that she had taken the shoes. She admitted her mistake at the beginning of the proceedings and agreed to take me to where she had hidden them. Together we walked under the Pretoria night sky. Pretoria is a place in South Africa. It's a major city. It's in fact our capital. To the dustbins that were situated at the back of a wedding venue. And she dug through rubbish and then placed a Woolworths packet into my hands. The shoes were inside. The manager and I called the owner of the shoes discreetly to the side as the festivities were still ongoing, and I had the pleasure of handing her the bag, heavy with shoes, to which the guest, beside herself with delight and giddy from too much alcohol, threw herself upon me in a hug with such force that I staggered onto my feet to stay upright. Moments like these were the highlight of my days. I did not yet know that at least one confession would bind me forever to a family that has never met me, but they do know of my existence. I was reminded again with that particular case that at times my work carried with it an enormous responsibility, and that it had the potential to completely destroy people's lives. The case came to me via a referral. The caller introduced himself as Abdul and advised me that petty cash had been stolen from his small but dynamic virtual card company that day. Even though he tried to explain to me what the company did, I did not understand, and nor was it necessary that I did. In order to conduct a polygraph, I only require a brief on the wrongdoing that has been committed, and this is what went down. Abdul employed 3 people in the office and 1 driver. 2 of the employees, namely Beauty and Zanele, both had access to the petty cash box and had worked with the cash. The 3rd employee, Cheryl, was the receptionist and had no access to the petty cash at all. We agreed that I would arrive at his offices in Midrand the following day at 11 a.m. It was clear that I was expected when I arrived, as the receptionist did not even ask my name, but simply asked me to follow her through to Abdul's office. In my training, I had been taught to never stick my hand out first to a man, as certain religions prohibit men from touching women other than their female family members. However, Abdul immediately stuck his hand out and warmly shook mine. He told me that Wayne, who had referred me, had told him that I'm tall and blonde and intimidating, and that is why the receptionist had let me straight through. I laughed heartily at the word intimidating, and I've often been called that. I realized I was becoming much tougher as I dealt with more and more subjects who lied to me. Polygraph did change me. It definitely changed me. I think it made me more realistic. And obviously it's a very interesting job. Abdul, after giving me a bottle of Coke from his bar fridge and setting a glass down for me on a Lions coaster on his table, he explained to me that Zanele and Beauty did all the administration for the company. At this, he got up and said he would like to show me the office in which the ladies worked. I followed him through the passage, and he showed me a room at the back of the premises that had a security door on it. One of the 2 ladies buzzed the door open and we entered. The room was painted dark blue, but carried lots of natural light due to the numerous windows. I was shown the drawer in which the petty cash had been stowed, and I was reassured by Abdul that only the 2 ladies had access to the petty cash box. I could see that both of the ladies were feeling stressed and smiled at them and told them that no matter what happened, it was going to be okay. We returned to Abdul's office and he explained that the entire petty cash box, in fact, had been stolen and it contained an amount of just under 7,000 rand. But the petty cash box was still safely in Zanele's drawer. As is so often the case, the amount of money stolen is not the issue. It is the principle of the matter, and so it was with Abdul. He led me through to the boardroom from where I would work, and I asked that both ladies come through while I set up. I opened my laptop, plugged in my dongle which contained my polygraph system, and waited for the ladies to arrive in the boardroom. They came through and at my invitation sat down. Zanele was carrying the key to the security gate for the office. As I had become accustomed, I explained the procedure to both of them, seeing no suspicious body language at all. I asked them both when the petty cash had last been seen. Beauty said she had seen the petty cash box at about 12:30 p.m. in the drawer. I started to draw a map of events depicting the crime scene on my notepad. I like to do this with times, just that I can get an idea of exactly what went down. But as you will see, perception is not always correct. I drew a crude drawing of the petty cash box in the center of the page, excuse me, and above it I wrote, last time seen by Beauty, 12:30 p.m. I asked Zanele if she had seen the box. She said she had seen it the day before, and she was adamant that she had seen so because her memory was still fresh. She told me that at about 11 a.m. she had dispensed petty cash to the driver for stationery that he was going to purchase on behalf of the company. I wrote driver with a question mark next to the box. Automatically, I asked the ladies if it was possible that he had stolen the petty cash box while the cash was being given to him. They both replied that this was impossible. I also learned that the security door to the office normally stood open since it was only the 2 female employees in the office as well as Abdul and Cheryl. Both ladies admitted that they had been responsible about locking the door, but only from yesterday, and had been irresponsible from the time before. They had worked there for 6 years and no money had ever been stolen. The door was basically there as a security measure to be locked overnight in case of a break-in. They were also both sure that nobody, apart from the driver and Abdul, had entered the office on the previous day. Beauty then informed me that the driver was Abdul's cousin. I dutifully added this to my written crime scene text. Once I had explained the procedure to both ladies, Beauty agreed to be tested first. She reiterated that she had seen the box at 12:30 p.m. Once I had completed the test and she left the boardroom, I checked her chart on the screen while I waited for Zanele. I could see immediately that her chart showed no deception at all when she asserted that she had not stolen the petty cash box. It was then Zanele's turn. I was convinced it was her since Beauty had passed her test, but Zanele's body language still did not display any behavior that would make me push for a confession. I clarified with her that once she had given the driver the money, he had left the offices and only returned after the box was found missing. Once the test was complete, I thanked her for her time and cooperation. As she stood up, clearly relieved that this was over, and with her head held high, she told me that she knew she had passed her test. I checked her chart, and it was very clear indeed that she had. I had not been confronted with such a situation before. By now, I normally had a clear and precise answer. The petty cash box had been stolen, and the only two people who could possibly have taken it were in the clear. My mind pondered as to who could also have access and opportunity to steal the box. Nothing made sense. Beauty, according to her, had seen the box at 12:30 p.m. The driver was out of the office from about 11 a.m. I looked at my written crime scene, and I knew that I would have to ask Abdul if I could test his cousin. If his cousin passed, then I knew that Abdul had stolen his own petty cash box. I will leave it there, and I will give another update tomorrow. Bye for now.